Hey everyone, let's continue and we are going to move on and talk more about visualizations, and we are going to focus on how we can make more customization. Okay, so for today, here are some of the background knowledge you should know. The first thing is, if you are doing a numpy.line space and then you do three parameters, and where do you start, where do you end, and then how many points are you going to divide in total. And for example, here I'm starting from 0 and then I'm ending on 10, and then I want to divide this space, including the beginning, including the end, to a total of 1001 points. So in this way, since I'm counting the 0 and also counting the 10, so I'm going to divide that into the 0.01, 0.02, etc. Okay, and after that I want to apply a sign. So x will be the x-axis, and then numpy.sinx will be the y-axis, and then I got a perfect sine curve. Okay, and then if I want to do the cosine, that's the same thing. And now my question is, how can we plot two lines together in one plot? And actually it's quite easy. If you just grab those two lines of the code and then you put them into one box, and then you plot two lines together. However, we want to do something different. We want to make use of the different color, and let's try this example. So I'm plotting the first sine curve and then the cosine curve, but in the sine curve I do a B and a O, and the B is for blue and the O is for a circle marker, and G is for green and O is for circle marker again. So what am I doing is, remember for the X, I don't have really a continuous data. The gap between each X value is 0.01, right? So that is here. So the gap between each X value is 0.01, and this means for each blue circle, that is one dot on the sine curve, and for each green circle, that is one dot in the cosine curve. So I'm plotting, even though you see two really bold lines, and actually there are just a lot of the blue circles and green circles. Okay, and you may say, why we are doing the circles? This may make the plot look like just bold lines. And how can we do something better? Now I'm changing that. And I'm also trying to do that in one line, and that is for the x and the numpy sign. So that is the x-axis, the y-axis, and now I'm doing a green dot. That is a green dotted line. And then I'm doing another curve. So that is another set of the x, another set of the y, and then I'm doing the right hyphen. So R is a red, and then hyphen means that is a solid line. So I'm using the green dotted line and the red solid line to represent two curves, and that's much better. And the point I'm trying to make is, if you are using markers and you have really a lot of data, and then those markers just overlap on each other, and then the line look ugly. And if you want to just use a dotted line or a solid line, and that should be better. Okay, so here is all the information on the color and the markers and the line types you are able to use with Matplotlib. And here, for example, K is for black, R is for red, and C, I don't know what is that. Okay, I thought that's teal, but I think we do have teal somewhere. Okay, teal is here. Okay, and then B is blue. Okay, and then for example, if we do a B, and then that will be the default shape, and then blue, and then R, O, that is red circles, and G hyphen, that is green solid line, and then the hyphen that is a dash line with the default color because we didn't specify the color. Okay, and then let's move on here. So now I'm still plotting the sine and the cosine, and I'm doing one more thing. That is, I want to add the legend. And to add the legend, when I'm plotting the line, I have to add the label. So for this sine curve, I'm saying, okay, the label is a sine, and for the cosine curve, the label is a cosine, and eventually I want to do a legend. And if I don't want to make any further changes about the legend, and by default, the legend will be on the upper right side, and then there will be a box. And if you want to tailor that a little bit though, well, you can specify the location of the legend to be, say, upper left. And if you don't want to have the frame, and you can say the frame on equals false, so you turn off the frame. And you can do even better. You can put that into the location as the lower center, so lower center of the plot. And then you can also specify the number of the columns. So you can specify the number of the column to be 2, so sine and cosine will be placed side by side. And here are a few more things. And if you want to do a fancy box with the curve on the corners, you can do that. And you can do the frame alpha, that is the transparency of the frame. And if you want to add a little bit of shadow, and then you can do that too. And you can do the border padding, and that depends on how much space you want to allow between the content inside and the border of the legend. Say if you want to do the border pad equals 0, and then you can see there's almost no space between the sign and the border of the legend up. So this is kind of ugly. Well, but anyhow, my feeling is this is kind of a over design. I think for the default style in most of the cases, that should be okay. And then for the transparency and for the fancy box, I don't really use that, but they are there. Okay, so now let's move on and do an exercise. And well, a few lectures ago we talked about the algorithms, and in the algorithms we know the x square grows faster than n log n. So n log n is log linear. So log linear grows faster than the linear, but not that fast compared with the n square, right? So now we want to create two functions. One is or two lines. One is n squared, another one is n log n, and then let's do from 0 to 100. And we want to plot both lines together, and then you can really see for the log linear, it grows much slower than n squared. So go ahead and fill in the code here, and then I'm going to show my solutions in the next video.